Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We are going ahead and get started with our community training. Um, I would like to start off by asking everyone to please put their name and agencies in the chat. Um, just a few pointers for the meeting today. We ask that all questions be held for the Q&A portion of the presentation. And you can also include any questions throughout the presentation in the chat box. And we will form a frequently asked questionnaire that will be sent out to the community at a later date. But we do ask, for time's sake of the presentation, to please hold all questions. And okay, moving forward, my name is Eric Cooper. I am the coordinated entry specialist here at Metro. Welcome everybody to our community training on coordinated entry. This presentation will just give a brief snapshot of what goes on with coordinated entry here at Metro and throughout the CoC. We have a few things on today's agenda. We will define coordinated entry. You guys will get a brief snapshot of the coordinated entry's history since it has been here with the CoC. You guys will learn about the core 4 elements of coordinated entry, the coordinated entry system flow, and we will have a final thoughts section and a Q&A section. So we have a full list of things for you guys today. The mission for the CoC is a community working together to achieve a safe and affordable housing for all residents of Genesee County. We have a HUD definition of coordinated entry. I'll give you guys a few seconds just to look over it before I pass the torch to Mrs. Hurd.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for that welcome. Thank you for setting the stage. Everyone, I'm really excited that you're here. Coordinated entry is very complex with many moving parts. And so I'm glad that you're here, that you want to understand it better so that we can help our clients in a trauma-informed way to get to stable housing. So I appreciate you being here. And Eric, thank you for kicking off our training. So let me start by giving you a little bit of Flint, Genesee County CE history. So 2016 is when the creation of our coordinated entry policies and procedures started. So let me back up. Coordinated entry, we will shorten that by saying CE. So creation of the policies and procedures happened, I think, around 2016. I actually joined the community in 2017. There were refinements of the CE policy and procedures. 2018, it was brought before the CoC body and approved and adopted. 2019 is when we created the quality by name list. And what is that? That's when we gathered together everyone in the Genesee County, that was experiencing homelessness. We contacted all of our agencies, asked them to give us names of people that they know that have been experiencing homelessness. We created the list in 2019. Also in 2019, we were awarded the funding that would allow us to execute a full CE program. Prior to that, there was some funding, but not enough. And so in 2019, we were awarded funding to execute a operational coordinated entry. 2019, we housed our first 6 clients officially through coordinated entry. That was a major milestone for our community. In fact, communities across the country. But for us to house 6 clients in 2019. Between 2019 and 2023, we've housed over 200 heads of household. Why we chose the term heads of household is because it could be a single household, it can be a household with children or spouse. So the best way for us to communicate or give you an idea, 200 heads of households, that could be 350 people. But just so you know, in that time frame, and we're relatively new when it comes to coordinated entry, we've housed 200 heads of households. So great work. While we're trying to figure out coordinated entry, we actually changed the trajectory of generations by getting them housed. So there are 4 key coordinated entry core elements. These elements are they are required of every coordinated entry across the country. There are 404 CoCs. It might be a little bit more than that. 404 CoCs, and every CoC is supposed to have a coordinated entry or in the process of implementing one. There are 4 key core elements. If all of them do not exist, you do not have a coordinated entry that meets the HUD requirement. So there are 4 key core elements: is access, assessment, prioritization, and referral. I'm going to go deeper into each of these, but if you look to the right, this coordinator, I have to move my screen around. This I took right out of a HUD presentation. This is where you see right below coordinated entry core elements, it talks about access, assessment, prioritization, and referral. And under that, there's pictures of what I'm going to explain to you moving forward. So remember, there are 4 core elements. And of course, Flint, Genesee County has all 4 elements. And they were framed in the policies and procedures. Nothing happens until that policy and procedure was adopted and we were ready to go. So access, as a community, stay with me to the left. I'm going to do the words and then I'm going to take you to the table to the right. As a community, as we were framing the policies and procedures, and Jim Perlacki led that in 2016, 2017, and still does today. As a community, we chose no wrong doors. I remember those discussions when I came in 2017. We had a lot of discussions around what model we wanted to use. We chose the no wrong door model, which means it gives you multiple points of entry. Our clients, we were thinking to alleviate or minimize bottleneck, that we would offer multiple points of entry. And access is the same process wherever you enter or our clients enter into the process. And I hope some of our clients are on today. A lot of what the helpline, they explain this process to our clients. So I'm hoping that they could join. Now join me to the right side of this presentation. This is taken from the HUD presentation. And if you look at just the top line, it will give you, where it says site location, it gives you the type of, look at the green area. You have single point of access, that's centralized. We didn't choose that. We had multi-site centralized access. We didn't choose that. No wrong door was an option. We did choose that, an assessment hotline. So we have a hybrid scenario with our coordinated entry. So we do have no wrong door, but you can also access it through a helpline. And so that's access. Now we're going to take a look at assessment. So HUD says that our assessment process, it has to be standardized, and it has to be the same questions, and it has to have the same scoring criteria. So we accomplished that. We have 3 documents that are used when a person enters into coordinated entry. The first thing we do is we assess them. And so the first document that all of us, all of the agencies, you're going to be amazed at how many agencies work together. There's what we call the coordinated entry system assessment. There are several questions on there, fundamental questions we need to get from the client that allow us to put the information into the HUD homeless management information system. So we collect that information, and it also houses an ROI, release of information in there, what agencies we can talk to. That's number one. Any one of our agencies that participate in coordinated entry, they have been trained on the CESA, and this is the first document that they will present to the client. The second document is the second document is the VI SPDAT. And as you can see, I did put the explanation below what VI SPDAT stands for. The VI SPDAT, there's another layer of questions we ask so that we know what housing path would best suit their needs to help them move through the process and so that they will maintain their stability. So that's the VI SPDAT. Everyone in the community that works with coordinated entry knows and has been trained on the VI SPDAT. There's the next layer, and this is for our PSH, which means permanent supporter housing agents, case managers, I'm sorry. They will do for anyone that scores on the VI SPDAT, I'll explain this later, just hang with me, that scores at 8 or above. That means that these are the clients with the most severe needs that we need to make sure we address first. There's another layer that's required, that they ask even deeper questions to determine not only the housing path, because we've pretty much determined that, but what kind of supportive services, what kind of wraparound services we need for this person to live a less traumatic life, to be able to sustain themselves. So those are the 3 assessments that everyone in Flint, Genesee County CoC has agreed to do, complete, and that is in our policies and procedures. So number 1 was access. Number 2 is assessment of the core elements. Number 3 is prioritization. So prioritization is taking care of those individuals that are experiencing homelessness, taking care of those that have the highest need. How we determine that today is the VI SPDAT. It's not perfect. We're looking at ways to improve it, but the higher the score typically means that is a client that needs the highest, has the highest need to be serviced. So on our QB&L, it's managed by Eric Cooper. He's the coordinated entry specialist. Everyone from the community sends their CESAs, their VI SPDATs to Eric, to the coordinated entry email. And then we place people on this list where everybody that experiences homelessness in Genesee County is on this list. And then we house them based on the higher the score. And there's some other criteria. We'll talk about that. They will then be referred out. The acuity score there's 2 levels. I think I have this in somewhere. If you are 8+ and above, you're going to permanent supportive housing. That means, well, typically, sometimes they may choose HCV. That means your acuity score was higher and we need to have wraparound services for you so that you can successfully maintain your housing. That's the bucket PSH. There's another bucket for rapid rehousing, which is your scores from 4 to 7. I think I'll go into this in later detail. But based on your score, you're referred out. That's how we prioritize who's on the list and how they move through the system. There's some other things other than acuity score that impact how they move through and flow through coordinated entry. Length of time homeless, chronic homeless status, and then what do the policies and procedures say we have to do? So core elements: 1, access; 2, assessment; 3, prioritization; and 3A. I'm sorry, I was going to go to 4. We thought we would spend time with quality by name list because this is something we don't typically do in a CoC meeting. And so we're hoping that our clients are on the line. We're thankful that the partners are on the line. The QB&L is the central point of the entire county. Everyone out of, I don't know, we get about 500 CESAs and VI SPEDATs a year. Thank you, Eric, for giving me that number. All of those CESAs and VI SPEDATs are sent to Eric. Eric manages them. He looks at their score. He's going into HMIS. He's checking all of these levers and putting them on the QB&L. That's managed by the coordinated entry specialist. Today, that's Eric Cooper. Eric's role is to make sure they're in QD order, make sure, the length of time of homeless, make sure that, those that are chronic. He's enforcing the community adopted policies and procedures. We all operate according to policies and procedures. And as long as we all flow in the policies and procedures, coordinated entry runs somewhat smoothly. So you have the coordinated entry specialist is managing this list. It's about 215 on there right now. Everyone on the list has a score of 4 or above. If they're less than a 4, that is not a housing intervention. There has to be a housing intervention need. So that starts at score 4. The quality by name list for a client and for your clients, and if you are a client, so that you would understand, for you to be on the community list, county list, there's 3 pieces of documentation that Eric is going to require. He requires the CESA. Remember, that's the coordinated entry system assessment. He requires the VI SPEDAT, and he requires a homeless verification. So that's why sometimes we can't add your client unless you provide all 3 pieces of information. Once all 3 pieces of information, then Eric will do what he does, and he puts them on the quality by name list. The homeless verification is updated every 30 days. I know the front line spends a lot of time explaining this to our clients. If you are experiencing homelessness today and your name is pulled 60 days later, the first thing that case manager is going to do is have to establish if they are still homeless according to the HUD definition. So that's why that is key. And you see, I put record keeping, we follow guidelines. We follow the 24 CFR 578. That's all of the code of regulations related to CoC. We also follow 2 CFR 200. Those are more accounting principles. I didn't have to really put that one in there. And then we follow 6509.2. That's the monitoring book. And there's certain pieces of information when HUD comes to monitor, they're going to look for, where's the CESA, the VI SPEDAT, let me see the homeless verification, and I want to see them coming from various agencies, because you say you have a standardized form, questions, and scoring, I need to see it. And so we've always passed that test. Just so you know, that's why Eric is a stickler about making sure he has those 3 documents and also enforcing the policies and procedures. The QB&L is how and where the referrals happen. Referrals flow into the QB&L, and then Eric organizes them according to the policies and procedures, according to the 6509.2, and then he refers them out. So that's what happens with the QB&L and referrals. So that's 3A. So remember the four core elements. 1 was access, 2 assessment, 3 was prioritization, and 4 is referrals. So we have all of our clients on the QB&L, and we're working to put them there. So Eric looks at the scores. The scores are typically put on the CESA. We sometimes go into HMIS and look. Travis, who is our HMIS at administrative for the county, and Eric work very closely. If the score is between 8 and 17, we're going to, when a GHS for their PSH or Shelter of Flint request referrals, we're going to send them, or not we, Eric is going to send them a referral. He goes to his QB&L list and he says, who's here 8 to 17? And he's going to start at the highest number because HUD requires that we take care of those that require the highest acuity. And so those are the 2 categories, either they're PSH or RRH. Anyone is capable of having an HCV. It's their choice. What's really important to HUD is that we give them choice. When a person has a high score of PSH, we really try to direct them toward PSH because they're going to get the wraparound services. If we can keep them there, they typically have a lower recidivism rate. If they have a score of 17 and they take HCV, we already know that percentage-wise, they're going to probably come back to recidivism or come back into homelessness. So you got the QB&L. The referrals they come off the QB&L, the quality by name list, the list of everybody in the county that's experiencing homelessness. Those referrals are initiated by the housing programs because they're watching their funding. They have a variety of funding streams, and we'll talk about that later. And when they have funding available, they will send an email to the coordinated entry email, that's Eric, and they will say, please send me, I have room for 3 PSH and 2 RRH. Eric then goes to his list and he starts at acuity order. So if it's PSH, he's going to start who's the highest at this time on the list, and he's going to check lifted time homeless. He's going to check chronicity. He's going to check all these things. Then if it's RRH, he's going to go to that list and see who's the highest on that list. If there are tiebreakers, there's a whole, in the policies and procedures, if there is a tie, if we have 2 clients that come in with the same exact acuity score, they have the same time of homelessness, length of homelessness, they are chronic, then there's a list of tiebreakers. We don't call them tiebreakers, we call them prioritization. So if there's 2 with the exact same thing and one is a veteran, guess what? The veteran is going to be housed first. It's going to be referred out first. Just so you know, we follow, coordinated entry is followed and bound by policies and procedures. So that's the 4th. So we just finished, hopefully everybody's still with me. We just finished the 4 core elements of a coordinated entry system: access, assessment, prioritization, and referral. So we just finished that. And I just share with you what HUD requires, and we meet all of those. We've not ever gotten a finding or a concern regarding our paperwork, because Eric and the previous coordinated entry specialist have been sticklers about making sure they have the documentation necessary. So when you talk about referrals, there are what we call housing pathways. Here are all the housing pathways. So Eric is receiving emails from all of these entities, and maybe even more, but these are the main ones. And then he's looking at the QB&L and he's making matches. And it's not just him. Now there are subcommittee meetings, they're talking and they're strategizing. I'll get into that later, but he's the central piece. So you have, and I explained, based on their acuity score, and there's other things, we might send them through a PSH path or RRH path, but take a look at the agencies. We all work together. We are only as strong as the weakest link. We are always in constant communication with each other. We are in meetings 2 to 3 times a month, because we're trying to identify roadblocks and how can we improve this process so that we can take care of our clients. But there, so you got the referrals, and now you have, here are all the options based on the client, based on their goals, based on what's available. This is the direction that we have available to send them in and hopefully sustain their housing. So here's the coordinated entry system flow. Stay with me to the left. I'm going to take you over to the right, but stay with me to the left. So as a coordinated entry system, it really means system. We're a single goal and a single mission, and that's to minimize roadblocks and to get our clients housed and hopefully keep them housed. That doesn't always happen, but that's the goal. So just think about the complexity of that. You have 15 agencies, 15 plus agencies that are really working together, trying to meet the HUD requirements, the CoC requirements, the ESG requirements, their own internal requirements. We're working together. You have about 20 plus case managers that meet, that's trying to navigate through the process. And you have 25 eligible programs to get them in. And some of those are prevention. I'm not talking about that today, but if that's of interest to you, please will ask me at the end of this. But and we have one coordinated entry specialist, but we have all these entry points that play a key role in making sure 15 agencies, 20 case managers, 25 eligible programs, keeping the client front and center and moving them through this system with as least amount of trauma, least amount explaining themselves. Does it always work? No, there's nothing perfect, but we're trying to make sure that they get to housing. So that's the flow on the left side. Just if you think about what it takes to bring all these agencies and experiences and everything together for the best possible outcome for our clients. I think we do a great job. So to the right is the map. I'm going to blow it up for you so I can take you through this. What time is it? Oh, okay. So coordinated entry, put yourselves in the spot of a client. I'm praying some clients made it today. So if you look at the top of the map, and the leadership group created these maps, this is one of the best things In fact, we have them printed. We're going to get them out to the community. But when a client enters, they've experienced homelessness and sometimes they haven't. So we try to prevent them. That's another topic that we will cover. But the first point of entry, the individual family is experiencing homelessness. So they can do, remember I talked about the no wrong door approach. They may come in through Catholic Charities. They may call Catholic Charities. They may walk in or call in one of the agencies. They may call the helpline number, or they may come in through street outreach. Now, this layer right here, I tell you, we are in constant communication. My teams, I should say, are in constant communication multiple times a day, checking with each other and trying to help these clients through. So the client can come in through any of these ways. Whichever way they come in, as you can see, there's a CESA and a VI SPDAT. Now, if they're a youth, we have a special, that's what that is over here. I hope you guys can, right here. That's a youth SPDAT. But as you can see, the consistency, the congruency, we all do the same thing. We get the CESA and the VI SPDAT. Oh, someone, they put the SPDAT here. We need VI, we got to correct that. Okay. And then if they call in or come in, the question is, does this call or does this person apply to housing? If it does, then we take them through the referral process. If it doesn't, then we refer them to the appropriate service. It could be G-Card, it could be DHHS, it could be Catholic Charities in their prevention piece. It could be Salvation Army, whatever the need is. And so all of this is happening multiple times a day. I don't know if you were on the last call, but between Catholic Charities and the helpline, there's almost 4,000 calls a month happening. So you can imagine the education that's coming, directing them to the right place. All of that is occurring. Okay, so that's how everybody flows. We start with our clients, and our clients come in through any point. They're asked the same questions. The criteria set up the same way. And then all of these agencies know how to direct them to the next step. And the goal is, if they go this path, the yes path, then we're going to get them over to ERIC. We're going to get them over to the quality by name list. Of course, if they have those 3 documents, and those 3 documents again are the CESA, the VI SPDAT, just like you see here, and the homeless verification. So that's cool. So just think about 25, 15 agencies, 25 case managers, all of us working together to get our clients through this system, through this flow. Sorry. Oh, wow, that went fast. So let me give you some details about coordinated entry QB&L. This doesn't include HCV data. That's something slightly different, has different criteria, different, it's a little bit different. So when a person comes on, remember, information flows into ERIC from these 15 agencies. He has the CESA, the VI SPDAT, and the homeless verification. Once that's on the QB&L, from the time of lease up until the time they sign the lease is 77 days. 40 of those days are the referral has not been made yet. Once the referral is made, and Eric can correct me because this is his area of expertise, it's about 30 days to get someone housed. So you have to, sometimes we have to make multiple calls. Sometimes we have to talk to each other to find them because they've disappeared. Sometimes it's just difficult finding a place that can that can pass an inspection. So it's about 30 days to get them housed.
That is
There are two-
correct.
Oh, go ahead, Eric. Go ahead. Jump in.
No, I was saying that that is correct, and I just want to point out, because we doing the verifications every 30 days, that number, the 215 number, fluctuates from month to month, so it can be it can change drastically because there's so many moving parts. Clients they moving in and out of the system in those 30 days a lot, so that number changes throughout the year. So now it's 215 now, it can be 275 in August. So, and it can be 185 in October. So there's definitely a lot of movement in the community and a lot of fluctuation with the numbers.
Thank you, Eric, for providing that clarity. We appreciate it. And the snapshot of this, and Eric, you can jump in too. I think it's about 78 PSH and 112 RRH.
That is correct.
Okay. And so why is this information important? It gives you a snapshot of the level of need in our community, number one. Number two, it gives you an idea of what it takes to effectively execute a coordinated entry program. And we've done that because we've housed 200 people, heads of households, since 2019. It's not been perfect. I'm not going to say that, but we are housing people. It also lets you know when we're in the middle of the NOFO. It lets you know maybe we need some more PSH beds, maybe we need some more RRH beds. Who gets housed faster than maybe we need? So it helps us not only with funding, but also just get an idea of what it takes and how we totally rely on each other. Coordinated entry cannot happen unless all of those agencies I talked about, we work together, and we do work together. So here's my final thoughts. Coordinated entry is complex, as you have seen. And this is why HUD requires an annual training. So you will get this every year. Last year, we really focused more on the provider or the agencies and what you need to fill out. This year, we really wanted and hoped that we would have some of our clients on here so that you may not have to explain as much. And then there's some new case managers, there's new employees. This hopefully gives you an idea of how your clients ebb and flow through coordinated entry. So as you can see, there's lots of moving parts and coordination. And I've said this, I will put our coordinated entry across any coordinated entry system across the nation, because we argue, we get back, and we figure it out. We huddle and we come up with a new gameplay, so we are doing great. All agencies have to be on the same page. And so how we accomplish this is through subcommittee meetings. So we have coordinated entry subcommittee, that's policies and procedures. We have QB&L subcommittees. That's navigating the people on the list. They come together. I think Travis leads that one. Jim leads CES. The community is coming together saying, do we have the right people with the right score? Are they still viable? And how can we move them through the system better? You have IST meetings. I'm going out of order because I should have put IST after QB&L. You have IST meetings, again, where the case managers and anyone that has a wraparound service, they come together and they're getting on the same page and figuring out how can we house the most difficult clients on our list. We have referral meetings. That's Eric's meeting. He's meeting with those housing. Remember, I gave you those housing pathways. He's meeting with the representatives from those housing pathways, figuring out how the referrals, are they viable? Are you giving them back? Do we need to move them? Are you having a hard time finding? Tell me what's on your mind. And then there's moving up meetings. That's when a person is ready to graduate from permanent supportive housing and graduate to taking care, well, I should say, they won't have the wraparound services because they have demonstrated that they are capable of sustaining their secure housing. That is it. That is our coordinated entry in a nutshell. I am hopeful that you were able to get an understanding of what coordinated entry is, the elements, how the elements interplay, the housing pathways, the referrals, and how we are grateful that our agencies work together to take care of our families. So with that, I'm going to take this down and I'm going to open it up for questions. And comments. And ahas, whatever you would like to share at this point. So, Ms. Davis or Mr. Davis, I can't tell. You said you wanted a copy of the chart. Can you tell me which one of the charts? What it look like? And then I will, actually what I'll do, how about if we post this presentation? I've got to get with Aaron. I don't know if we can post it on our website, but we'll figure out how to get this presentation to the community so everybody can have what they need. Yes, it is being recorded, Janae. Any other questions regarding the training, our annual training? Any comments? Did anybody learn anything?
Tracy, I think even for those of us that are familiar on a macro level with the process and the workflows, it's so important to do this just because it's such a nuanced system that there's always some takeaway. And with all the turnover and staff at the different agencies, I think it's just invaluable to do this regularly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Lori, good question. Wait, I think I saw one for Deborah. Deborah, the RFP, not for this meeting because this is a HUD mandate of training, but we can create a special meeting if you want to talk about the RFP. The flow of chart for service. Okay, I got you. Yeah, Maurice, you remember years ago. So Lori, there's a VI SPDAT and there is a SPDAT. The VI SPDAT is a YouTube training that was created by the creator of the VI SPDAT. And so we send everybody to that. And also Mishta has the VI SPDAT training. For SPDAT, which is a different level, there has to be, well, let me put it to you like this. There is the state level training. We haven't had it since I think I went through it in 2019. I asked Michelle Edwards with Mishta about a year ago if they had put out a schedule for additional SPDAT training. However, I think we have a partner that we can utilize for SPDAT. I have to get it approved through Mishta, but let me work on that, Lori, and see if we can get Lori Miles Youngs to see if we can get some SPDAT training. I hope that clears it up. If not, ask me a different way. Okay. Kevin, the VI SPDAT, I put it in yellow on the VI SPDAT because I don't know it. Somebody, if you, Eric, can you tell us, go to that slide and tell us what VI SPDAT stands for? Or any one of you guys who have it, Erica, whomever. Oh, I might have it. Hold on.
Hey, good morning, or good afternoon. This is Sandra McLaurin. I wrote down vulnerability index. services prioritizing or decision assistance
Talk,
tool.
yeah.
That's it.
Is that it?
That's
Okay.
it. You did
All
it.
right.
You take great notes. Now, do we pronounce your name Sonia or Sonia?
I say Sonia, but I'm never offended if
Okay.
it comes out Sonia.
Well, Sonia,
It
thank you.
happens.
Thank you
It
for
happens.
coming through. I always get it all confused. So thank you for clearing that up. That's why I put it in the presentation. And then the SPDAT, you just take off the vulnerability index. And then you have the SPDAT. Let's see. So Lori, to your point, you are correct. You are absolutely correct. And if you need the link, you can contact me or Misty Bowers. I know she sends her teams through that. You can contact either of us, and we will get you the link for training. Thank you, Kevin, for making sure we explain. Any other questions? Any other comments?
I have a question.
Sure.
So there's a link for the VI SPDAT training.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about in our last, I think it was CQI-IST meeting about the need for training for the VI SPDAT because of our inaccuracy and our inconsistency. And a lot of the trainings, they're telling you to strictly ask the question and record the answer. But we have clients who have a learning curve and who may not answer directly. But if you let them talk some, they may give you the full story. And so when you get to that question, you can ask the question. And if their memory is not really giving, you can say, well, what happened when you said you were homeless and you were put out of this? And then that can be the answer. So we were trying to coordinate a VI SPDAT training for our next, oh Lord, what call was that? Somebody help me, because we do so many calls.
No, you were right the first time. That was it was last month's IST meeting.
Yes.
When we were coordinating, we did the IST CQI mashup. That's the meeting that we were talking, that we talked about that.
Well, what meeting were we going to do the training? Was it HMIS or was it QBNL? It wasn't QBNL, it was HMIS. So maybe we can open up, instead of interrupting the HMIS training, let's open up and have a VI SPDAT training so that we can and I understand what's offered online, but there are some things that we can get from clients that if we just listen to them and be an active listener and let them talk, and it also builds that sense of vulnerability with the client to where they'll give you more information, which will help you further paint a picture, because once you complete the SESA and the VI SPDAT, it's just a picture to us. And if there's not accurate notes and the questions are not answered to a level to show you what the client has gone through, it can impact their score. So can we, as a community, and Tracy, you can tell us what date, because I know you and Aaron looks at our calendars, and I know we have NOFO coming up. I don't want to interrupt anything, but maybe we can schedule a time for anyone in the community who wish we can have a VI SPDAT training and work through it. I think we talked to Janae, but she said she doesn't do it anymore. Deborah did. So I'm more than willing to step in, and we as a community could come together and discuss that document and how to best get an accurate picture of what's going on with our clients.
Travis, thank you so much. I think that you are spot on, and there's nothing like that in-person training and sharing expertise. And so please get our schedules together. But I know when we first launched coordinated entry, we did do a kickoff training of the VI SPDAT, the homeless verification, all that. So you're spot on. Timing is perfect. We will do, Lori, so stay tuned for that. Travis will kind of give us the dates that he was thinking about, and we'll see if we could, we'll make it happen. The NOFO is due September 30th. So we might do it the first week in October or something. We'll get it to you. Travis, is that cool?
Yeah, I was really looking at sooner if we can do August so we can get it over with.
Okay.
Like the first week in August, and I was saying kind of in place of our HMIS meeting. So maybe we can open it up instead of doing HMIS. And Jim said that we could use street outreaches area because it's very open and big and we can pull out more chairs if necessary.
Okay, try that. The first week in August is like 2 weeks away. Can y'all believe it? Less than 2
I
weeks.
know I'm saying it would, we was trying that, but I said we could push it back,
Okay.
you know, but I just want to do that before we get into NOFO, because after NOFO, we kind of be fried a little bit.
Yeah, oh,
So,
that's true. I
before
forgot.
we do NOFO and get into that and
Okay,
fry
so
our
let's
brains
look
and
at
forget what we're supposed to do.
right. Okay, so let's look at the best time for that. Thank you for bringing that up. Artasia, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. There are some handouts. They're hung up at the printer, but we did that flow chart that you saw. We have that printed. There's several we have printed. I have not talked to Outreach, but I want to coordinate with Outreach and Misty with Catholic Charities to see if we can, they can help us distribute them, but they're coming. They're at the printers and they're hung up because we went the most cost-effective route, which is not the fastest route. So they're coming. As it relates
Tracy?
to the presentation, I'm going to post that and then you can, of course, make your copies from that. Somebody had a question. You're welcome.
I had a brief question. I didn't catch all of what you said, but distribute what?
Okay, so there are not, if you could have some at your location, we have print copies of the coordinated entry flow and the
Okay.
resources. And so as soon as those come, I just ask that you guys can post them at Catholic Charities.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, ahas, anything you want to see?
Can we work to, and I know we talked about it, I think there was, maybe we could try to get someone to come to our CoC to do a full SPDAT training. And we could schedule that like in November or something. And I know we've already talked about that, but that just came to my mind. Like,
We can. So I have to clear it through MISTA. So the owner of Org Consulting is SPDAT certified. Well, he created it. I think Michelle told me that he is one of the few that she will allow to train. Ian, who is the owner of Orcode. Let me check and see if he's still one of the approved presenters. I'm sure because he created it. And then let me see if I can get him in here to do a training. It's about 2 days. Well, I think, Deborah, remind me, it might have been 8 hours. Well, he'll get it together. It's at least a full day. So Travis, just remind me to call Ian. Any other questions, comments? Well, thank you for attending our annual coordinated entry training. If you have any questions, please contact me, Aaron, Eric, Erica, Travis, either of us, and we will make sure we get back to you. Thank you so much. We are going to capture what's in the chat, and we're going to create, like Eric said, a frequently asked question document and also send that out. All right, so thank you so much. Thank you, Suzanne. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Travis. Thank you, everybody. All right. Thank you, Charmaine. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.